When I first started working, I was employed at a workshop in Osborne Park, and there was about 15 guys working there, and I struck up a really good friendship with a young fella my age, so we would have been about 15 or 16. It's just one of those people that you connect with straight away. One day he came in, he says, I'm going to be moving on to another job. I'm going to be working up north on a road gang with my dad, because his dad was employed on building roads. A few months went by and I went back into work, and I saw the manager there in the morning, and he says, did you hear the news about Chris? And I said, no, was he coming back to work? And he says, no, he wasn't coming back to work. He'd been killed in an accident at his workplace. So I started probing him, just talking to him about what had happened, and he said that the work day had ended, and they were all going back to their camp, and they were walking. They were just walking back to their camp, and there was a roller up ahead. So he had run up to that roller and tried to jump on it to catch a lift, but he slipped and he fell under the roll. He got caught under there, so he hadn't died. So he was there for probably 8 hours, and his dad was there as well. So he passed away with his dad there at the same time. It's a hell of a way to die for a young man as well. So with his father there, and and all his friends back home, and like I said, it's just one of those things. You don't realise the consequences. You don't have anything like that in mind. It's all good intentions, but I suppose there's time and place for everything. So it was shocking. So and even now, it's 30 years later, and you still feel the effects of the situation. So. And his parents and his friends and his workmates back at the old place, and his probably workmates that were there at the time, that they all would have been affected for the rest of their lives, I'd say. So.
My dad was hit by a fatigued driver and died instantly at the accident. My mum had an accident about 3 months beforehand, so she was still in hospital from it. So I left my job to go and care for my mum full time. My cousin, he saw the accident happen. He was in intense counselling. One of my other uncles just pretty much just couldn't cope. I went back to work after a week because I was just there. I needed something to do. I was lost without him.
My secretary's brother was killed. One of my ambulance officer mates was killed, and then the guy that owned the shop in town, his son busted bilateral humeruses in both arms in the same accident, and that was a terrible day. Yeah, that was. Work was shocking. It was people were just sort of morbid, and the same thing. It affected everyone. The family was affected, because then you've got to go to a morgue, and then you've got to identify bodies, things that people don't understand. Normal people don't understand that stuff. And as ambulance officers, and then as parents of loved ones that have been killed, somebody's got to go and do all that, identify bodies, all that sort of stuff. And that's not the sort of stuff mum and dad never teach you that when you're growing up. And it's not until something happens that all of a sudden you've got to go through all that.
We are a fairly tight community around Boddington. It's not a great number of people, so it's always something that it does affect everyone in the area. And us being part of it, initial stages, it does feel a bit bad sometimes, for sure.
Everyone knows everyone. If there's a funeral, half your team go to a funeral. It just all snowballs from there. That's all. It's if somebody's hurt in the workforce, and it doesn't matter whether they've cut their finger or whether they've been an accident on the highway, the whole company is affected by it. Yeah.
Think about others. Think about the other people in your life that you love and care about. Think about the innocent people that you might affect, people you don't even know. It has a far-reaching effect, more than I think anyone understands.
You've just got to run off the road and come off in front of somebody else, and you could kill somebody or be involved in that trail of destruction, and you've got to live with that the rest of your life.